I'd like to share a practice that has helped me make substantial progress in creating spaces where I'm able to be open and honest with the people that I'm working with, and it doesn't create conflict and doesn't create additional tension much of the time.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing a few years ago, looking at myself, I was working on a process called a rule of life, which is like a spiritual formation term where you're trying to set specific strategies for what am I going to do this year, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. What is my plan for how I'm going to try to let God work on me and help me grow over this year? Try to do that every year. One of the things someone challenged me on, I'd put together my strategy and I thought, this is good. And I showed it to this guy who was a classmate at the time, and I said, hey, look this over for me. See what you think about it. And I'm thinking, nice work, Mark. And what he said is, hey, this is fine. There's not a single thing you have on this list that involves other human beings.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so like I'm a hardcore introvert. And so that's all the stuff I wanted to do. It was just more time in solitude and reading things and praying by myself. And like, you need to do something for your spiritual growth that involves another human being.
That is fascinating.
And so...
Are you willing to say who that was, or do you remember?
I don't remember the guy's name. Okay. It was just some random person I had a class with when I was working on my master's degree.
Random guy? Props to you.
Yeah, I think his name was Robert. I can't remember his last name.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a good observation. So somehow, I don't remember the point at which this completely shifted, but I've learned that meal times are just good times to connect with people in general. I think most of the productivity that happens in my ministry happens usually meeting with someone over lunch or for breakfast or coffee or something. It's a good space to talk. And so I started this discipline where when I've had more time, I've actually chosen two individuals. I would try to pick one who could be kind of a mentor figure to me and a second who is more of a peer or maybe someone I was kind of helping along. But I would get these two people, I would talk to them around October, November and say, hey, for the next year, I would like for you and me to pick a day of the month, based on your schedule. I'm a minister, I'm a little more flexible. So let's say third Thursday of every month, I'm putting it on my calendar, setting reminders. You and me are going to go to lunch somewhere. And when we go to lunch, maybe we talk shop a little bit, but really the point of this is to help each other grow spiritually. So I want us to be open with each other. I want us to pray with each other and for each other. Let's just have a year of really trying to be spiritual companions. And like let's make it spiritual, not just talk about small talk, the weather, sports, whatever. Like let's really make sure we continue to go there. I've never had anyone who didn't take that as a wonderful compliment that I invited them to do something like that.
That's great.
And so in general, that's wonderful for your relationship with anybody you're doing that with. If you've spent a year actively getting with another person for an hour and a half at a time to share your lives, pray for each other, like good bonding happens there. But another shift I made once I started doing this was I thought, whoever it is that I'm connecting with, one of those two people for me, and for a while it's gotten to where I really just have had time to meet with one regularly. I said, I'm going to let that person be an elder. Frankly, if you're starting with this discipline, maybe it's dangerous to say this out loud, but I would recommend start with the elder that you have the hardest time relating to.
Okay. Why is that?
Because, it's kind of a foundational thing of good leadership is that whenever you feel an inclination to put up a wall with someone, it means you need to get to know them better. Right. So it's kind of a discipline to practice. But I have to tell you, like at our congregation here at King's Crossing, most of the elders who hired me, you have your tryout Sunday. I hate that terminology, but not many times in my life have I just like really hit it out of the park. But it was like I could tell it went pretty well.
Yeah.
And all the other elders were just saying, oh, man, you're the guy. Whatever it's going to take to get you here, we can't wait to get you started. And then this one who was like, it wasn't bad. But, man, this is going to be a hard decision. I wish we could hire you and the other guy who's also in the running, but I don't guess that'll work. But, man, this is going to be a tough decision.
That same elder tried to do the same thing with me, but I already knew there was nobody else in the running. It was too late because I already knew.
Right, and maybe that's a wise thing on his part to help me from getting my ego too inflated. But
sure,
at the time, anyway, there were a couple of other things where I just kind of wasn't getting him, and so that was.
And I think that's probably the best way. It wasn't like you had serious negative experiences.
No negative experience.
It was like you're running on different wavelengths, or like you weren't getting maybe each other's sense of humor or whatever it was.
Yeah. But I mean, you really do, with a lot of people, you kind of have to get to know them before you understand how to take what they say and what they mean and what their intentions are. And so I would recommend, if you're getting this practice started, if there's one elder you've really struggled with, like start with that guy. And I'll tell you, if you've met with someone and shared in their life and prayed with them and for them and celebrated victories with them and had them pick you up when you're going through a hard time, man, that's powerful. But I have to say that elder now happens to be one of my closest friends who will be a friend for life.
Yeah.
This is someone I just dearly, dearly love, him and his family in ways I can't describe.